So a lot of folks have asked, why foneFrame? What's the big deal? Why should I care? This is an attempt to answer some of those questions and point to where we're going. To begin with, I found writing mobile pages for smartphones a real pain in the butt. It wasn't easy to get started, the books were complicated, and if you're coming from a world of writing 401 transitional HTML, cheating if you will, the structured approach to HTML5, leaving behind divs and iframes and really playing by the rules, can be a little daunting at first. What better way than to start with a template that does all of that for you? If you read the comments in the code, you'll see that it's a tutorial as well as just a fill-in-the-blanks template full of placeholders and boilerplate. So it becomes a learning tool. Because it's really a schema instead of any one implementation, there are a number of templates, the basic template being free, others for sale. There are a couple of web front ends that also allow you to make mobile sites within the foneFrame schema. One generates mobile sites storing the contents, the index HTML file, right on your computer or your phone using HTML5's local storage. The other web front end uses another hosted style sheet in the cloud, I might add, hosted in the cloud, to skin your Twitter RSS feed so that it displays as a mobile page on a smartphone. We also have a web front end that generates RSS 2.0 feeds that display as a mobile page, but also act just like any other RSS feed. You can run them through FeedBurner. We even have support for Google's PubSub-Hubbub protocol, which you should look at if you aren't familiar with it already. So the reason we're doing all this, I understand that at this point, foneFrame seems like a solution in search of a problem. Unless you're that person who picks up Dreamweaver for the first time and wants to make a site that's extensible, HTML5 compliant, looks good on all phones, and you don't know where to begin. There's actually a step you need when you're wireframing a new site before you reach for jQuery. You may be using HTML5 in order to write a web app that will roll into a phone app by using PhoneGap inside Creative Suite 5.5. Again, we see foneFrame as the perfect way to jumpstart a project like that as well. If you look at the comments in the code, there's a bunch of stuff going on under the hood, including an Easter egg if you look hard enough. The web front ends that generate either websites in a LIFO stack, most current on top, oldest on the bottom, much like Twitter, or the RSS feeds that we call feeds with style because they also display as mobile pages. Both of those, when you make an entry, we generate a hidden digital fingerprint. For you geeks and nerds and crypto folks out there, it's a SHA-256 based hash-based message authentication code, an HMAC. What this means is, if Alice and Bob exchange a secret key, they can verify that Alice really published all the posts in that website or that feed. Alice and Bob, they may be boss and employees, they may be an editor and a journalist, it may be a journalist and a whistleblower. So this is our first effort in bringing cryptography and security to the foneFrame schema. Look for things like AES encryption of that HTML5 local storage so that what's in your phone is under your direct control. We also, when we did the skin for Twitter and some of the other RSS XML stuff, that is the foundation for doing a bunch of transforms with XSLT, so that you can have an existing XML structure and transform that into a foneFrame mobile page. We also are looking at, we're doing it, mimicking the Android 4.0 UI in a CSS style sheet. So we're doing Halo and Halo Light and the mixed one as well. We'll then do iOS. This means you'll be able to look for the device in your HTML file and dish out a CSS file that will mimic an iPhone or an Android device. So your web apps will look more and more like native apps. So while we have focused on smartphones now, in our big whiteboard in the sky, the same foneFrame schema can be matched to feature phones as well, which opens up a whole new marketplace in terms of Africa, Asia, parts of Latin America that will never enjoy the smartphone penetration we see in the US, Canada, and Europe, as well as the fact that as Americans and people in Western countries, we need to appreciate the impact of feature phones that we've long since outgrown. In places like sub-Saharan Africa, where microfinance, commerce, the use of SMS as a broadcast vehicle, these have changed people's lives in ways that we find hard to imagine. But if foneFrame can address that market as well by shuffling the data and presenting the same content in different packages, the schema becomes that much more valuable. And that's what we're really doing, is growing this foundation that developers and designers and IT people and organizations can use to publish stuff now. But as we pursue this simultaneous rapid development plan, there are a bunch of people working on a bunch of tricks and one-ups and hacks and extensions and whatnot that will make foneFrame the schema even more valuable and more useful as you see more and more options that play into that same game plan. So it's kind of like trying to sell the first version of jQuery. Until there was a tool like that, people couldn't appreciate that they had a problem that that tool solved. And it's the same with foneFrame. We all need to make mobile sites. We all need to use HTML. But we need to remember to keep the content in the HTML, the presentation in the CSS, and to be able to change and dish up different things at different times and to different audiences. So again, we appreciate the fact that foneFrame 2.1.0 is broad and shallow, but the reason we've moved it across templates to web front ends and HTML as well as RSS and the Twitter hack is to say, look, foneFrame is a schema, it's a design, it's a naming convention, it's this big overarching thing. It isn't any one product that we're going release 1, 2, 3. It's a number of different things, and as it matures, we hope that you'll find tools in our toolkit that help you present the mobile experiences that you want with the minimal amount of heavy lifting. Released under Creative Commons, we encourage people to edit, change, mash up, tweak, scratch, whatever you want to say, to contribute to this effort, and the more we use it, the more valuable it is for everyone. So again, I hope this is a broader, more leisurely definition of what foneFrame is, why we've taken it in the direction we have, and how it relates to what you want to do with smartphones. So thanks for your time.